Hi everyone. I wanted to share an idea with you regarding my crystals. And I love these things. Do you guys like crystals? I love them. They've actually helped change my life. Um, in our attractor fields, as we go through life, we draw things and people into our life depending on where we're at in our own personal evolution. And I've always loved gems and crystals ever since I was a kid. But lately, there's something happened. It kind of just grew inside me. And there's other elements of my life why these things happened, why I grew into this level of understanding and appreciation. I think the earth has been teaching me a lot. So anyway, this crystal is a natural quartz that's been ground and sort of polished up. There are a few little inclusions in it. Now, I want to show you another crystal. This one. When I bought this crystal, it was perfectly clear. There were no inclusions in it. Now I want you to see this. Look at these. Now, something has happened. This crystal has been sitting in a certain spot and for weeks, and then sometimes I'll move it to another spot, and then, just depending where I want to have it. But what's happened is this crystal has these inclusions in it. And do crystals do this naturally? I got really concerned, and yes, they do. And so I let it go about doing its thing. Now, what are the internal processes inside this crystal? What is this crystal going through that's creating these inclusions? That's a really interesting thing. What is its consciousness doing? How is it perceiving its environment? It's really interesting. I also have this one. This one has some inclusions in it. And I wonder sometimes, like I said, what is the past history of these guys? I got this crystal. It was perfectly clear also about the time I got this one. And, sorry, wrong one. This one. This one. Now, this one is pretty pristine. It's pretty clear. And the only thing that started happening in the past year is this thing started to rutilate. Now, rutilation is where they get these tiny little fibers. They look like fibers. And I've counted them. It started with 1, and then it went up to 2 and 3, and then now it's up to 7. I don't know how this happens, but it's happening. I don't know if you can see it. Let me see if I can find an angle. It might be too fine for you to see. There's one right there. Anyway, this thing's rutilating. It's doing its thing. The tiny little angel hair is running through it. I'm watching it as it's doing this. This crystal says, I want to do this. And I think it's fascinating watching this crystal do what it wants to do. So, and I also like smoky crystals. This is my biggest point. It's real. I mean, this is not smelted. This thing has lots of natural inclusions. It has incredible fire when you get it outside. This thing pops with so much rainbow. I'm going to make a separate video just so you can see it pop. But what's interesting is this seam right here just started over the past few weeks. Look at that. Now, my suspicion is that many of these crystals are brought up from a very deep level. I know that these some of them are brought up as much as 1,000 feet or 500 feet and so on for these crystals to come to the surface. But what does it tell me? Well, for one thing, when you see a smoky crystal that's been through a lot, for instance, these are my favorites. I love these guys. I bought them together. I will not separate them. They're really cool. Look at it. Look at that. This is smoky crystal. Smoky crystals have been through the fire. They've got some kind of pressure that has gone on. Whether that's artificial pressure manipulated by man or nature, Mother Earth, heating these things up over time. The point is, they've been subjected to external pressures. And what I love about them is how they've become beautiful as a result of the contrast between the dark and the light. So sometimes in our own life we go through things that are really hard. Sometimes we go through things that are hard and difficult, and we feel the burn of transition, right? Well, what happens when we fracture? What happens when we go through these things that stress us out? Perhaps break us, tear off the human ego, all the things that have been programmed into us by our society, all the things that have been programmed into us by culture and belief. What if, that happens to us? Well, my feeling is it forces our spirit to grow. Now, when we are pure spirit beings, say, from a higher world, a higher universe, there is none of this kind of polarities as we experience in the physical universe. So we are of a higher refined energy. But coming down through the layers to the physical universe and experiencing life as humans, we go through these ideas of polarity. Hot, cold, up, down, magnetic south, magnetic north. There's these polarized oppositions that actually hold the fabric of the universe together. It's a very strange kind of universe. So what happens is our spirit gets subjected to things it's not used to. We give love and we give support and we give hope and we give understanding, and the world may not respond in the way that we were familiar with in the center of our heart. So we go through these stresses, and some of these stresses can, really amount to a lot of human suffering. But what happens out of that when we grow, we can become like this, We use that stress. It's like I was explaining to someone before, or I use this as an example. If you're pushing down on a diving board, that pressure pushing downward is what's the force that uses to launch your spirit into a higher level of beingness. So you come into this physical universe not knowing about these polarities, and you experience life and it feels like a horrible downward pressure on you. Yes, as a human, yes, this is what we feel. But our higher spirit is at work here. And so pushing down onto the stresses of life, these polarized oppositions of life, help launch us up. We need the negative forces in order to drive our spirit, our inner power, our inner spirit to higher understanding and higher levels of awareness. So that's what these kind of represent to me. If you look in this little, I love these stones. I love them. If you look into here, I'm going to show you the secret of this sweet little stone. Do you see that? Look at this thing. It's been burned. Ow! Right? And it's fractured. Did someone hit this thing? Did someone intentionally whack this thing? I don't know. Did the earth put pressures on it for it to break and fissure like this? But look what's come out of it. Look how it can sharply reflect spirit. Okay, look at those pretty colors just in there. Okay, so this thing is showing us, Mother Earth is showing us secrets. She's showing us that the pressure we go through, makes fissures in us where our inner spirit, the secret of who we really are as an inner spirit, can shine through. Look at that. That's what this is showing. Isn't that pretty? Then we have this one, the sister stone. I love it. Look at that shine. Bam! Now, if this thing was perfectly clear, we couldn't see that. Okay? So this has its own journey. That pressure in there has created this illumination. And we are illuminated beings here. Okay? We bring illumination. That's what it's about. And when we face unsurmountable pressures that feel like it crushes us, and we go through this spiritual journey here, we're actually pressing against negative polarized opposition in order to magnify the power of the inner spirit. Okay? That's how it's seen. It cannot break into physical manifestation without those pressures. Okay, so, you know, that's kind of what these things show me. This is another one. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? And when I get these things outside, they pop. They really have a lot of rainbow and a lot of pop in them. And look at the burns. Oh my gosh. You see? This is like us. We are these crystals. We are like crystalline beings. This is, of course, a material, a matter-based symbology. But if you can sort of think about that metaphorically or metaphysically, I think you'll get it. Same thing here. So anyway, I just wanted to share those with you. And hopefully it has meaning for you, maybe a little bit of something to think about. And so I want to thank you for watching, and I love you. And I want you to have a great day, a great week, a great life, and come back again and we'll share, talk about our crystals and have more fun. Okay? Love you all. I'm going to do what Caroline taught me. Thank you. And we'll see you again real soon.